Well, I'm kind of late for this one, aren't I? Yeah, like the album came out like almost 2 weeks ago, but you know, better late than never. Anyways, let's talk about MGMT, because they released a new album this year. That one being by the name of Loss of Life. MGMT is a band that, while I'm familiar with and generally will say I care for, I've actually also never listened to them that much. And it's really not because of their music, because I do generally like their music from what I've heard. I mean, Congratulations is a great album and the one that I would consider to be my favorite from them. Mainly because of their unique spin on new psychedelia, a genre that I usually tend to love, one of my favorite genres even. And Little Dark Age, the other album that I've heard from them, that's more centered on synth-pop, I think it's also pretty solid. Even if it's pretty front-loaded, but you know. But now we have Loss of Life, an album where the band dives more into a softer and more melancholic direction. So I've listened to the album 2 times. The first time I thought the album was honestly just okay, where I liked the instrumentation and the kind of mood the album was going for, but was also just generally a little bit too bored and disappointed by it, feeling like the album was just kind of empty as a whole. Upon re-listen though, I think the album has definitely grown on me. Like I still have my problems with it and I still don't think it's the best that I've heard from the band, but I do think it's a good album. The band is going for a softer and more melancholic sound here, and I think they're definitely able to pull it off well. And that's mainly because a lot of these songs have a pretty emotive and warm feel to them that I do find to be welcoming. The album also just generally feels like a very sweet record as well. Like there's a certain earnest to it that I do really like. It's definitely an album with a clear soul. And yeah, the lyrics are very good as well. Not particularly my favorite thing about the album, but I do kind of love the sense of depth and humanism that they possess. My favorite lyrics from the album are particularly from the very last song, Loss of Life, aka the title track, where its themes that the lyrics tackle are definitely at their most daunting and chilling. And they're on the song that has probably the most bittersweet instrumentation as well, so it's pretty much a perfect fit. But with all of the good things in mind, I think there's one thing that does prevent the album from greatness, and that is, well, the songwriting. I mentioned that the songs have a really sweet and melancholic sound to them, but when it comes to the melodies themselves, well, they don't often stand out to me. Like it often feels like the album is just stuck within a sound or a mood for just way too long, for just way too many of the songs. And the melodies themselves are not even terrible per se, but they really just feel like they blend together more often than not. I think that's part of the reason why Mother Nature and the last song are my favorite songs here, because they suffer from that problem the least. It's the only problem that I have with the album, but it's unfortunately kind of a big one that prevents the album from not really, well, having a lot of replay value. Still though, I do think it's a pretty good album. Not MGMT's best, but it's definitely a chapter in their discography that I do at the very least appreciate.